I lied about cheating to my ex to break up. Still have mixed feelings about it. Apologies for the lengthy message. For context, I was in a relationship with her for over 5 years. Towards halfway through the relationship, I became unfaithful, and our relationship has been on and off since. We tried to reconcile and move on, and it worked well for a while, but issues kept resurfacing, making it difficult for both of us. Occasionally she gets upset and says things like, "Oh, it's probably your other girlfriend," or brings up the past. This makes me uncomfortable and frustrated because I want to improve and not be reminded of my past mistakes every time something goes wrong. For example, if we watch a movie with a cheating scene, it often leads to her getting mad at me. I know I messed up badly by being unfaithful, but I think I'm allowed to feel frustrated by these situations. No one is happy when it happens. One day, I stupidly said something inappropriate, and she stopped talking to me for a few days. I decided that maybe the best thing was to end it and not be together anymore. We met in person, and I lied, telling her I had started talking to another woman, knowing it would definitively end things between us.we, still see each other occasionally due to mutual friends, and every time I see her, I want to tell her the truth, but I don't think she would believe me. It's been a few months since the breakup, and I still look at our old texts and photos. I think about the time we broke up, kissed, and she said she still loved me, which messed me up for weeks. I even called her number to listen to her voicemail, knowing she blocked me. It would kill me if she truly moved on and found someone else. I still care for her a lot. I know I'm not a good person, and this is probably my punishment, but it still sucks. I hope she's happy with whatever she's doing now. Thanks for reading my long message.
AITA for yelling at my brother, who didn't give me the job. Ahole. Alrightly, a little bit of backstory. My 27F brother, 30M B, immediately started dating this girl, M, after dating his ex, M, 10 years ago. I really liked M and thought they had a life together, and was so mad at him for chasing after some other girl instead of staying with M, who was better for him. M and B have been together 10 years, but M and I have never gotten along. I told her when I met her that I had wanted red-headed nieces and nephews. M was a redhead, and she is not. She doesn't really know B. They'll come back from trips, concerts, and say they had fun. I know he's lying. He never liked Taylor Swift before her. He's faking it for her. But when I remind her he doesn't like TS, they both get quiet. I stayed close with M and we thought they'd break up. I find M, but she has gotten mad at me. But it's always over the small things. B graduated residency and is starting his own fam med. I am an NP, who has not been able to find a job, and they are hiring for an NP, and I thought it would be the perfect fit. I reached out to B and told him I'd absolutely take the job, and didn't get a response until he called me. I guess M has quit her job to manage the practice, and because of the tension over the years, he doesn't think it's a good fit for M and I to work together. I was dumbfounded. I asked if M made this decision, and he said he hadn't asked her, but I know this is her. I sent her a text telling her I thought it was unfair of her to ruin my career. M could get a job anywhere, but I can't. It's why he's okay to work with his wife, and not me when we used to be so closer. It would make more sense for me to work there because I have a med background and she doesn't. It's why she has been against me from the time they got together, but it's hurting my feelings, and I can't stay quiet on it now that it's impacting me professionally. M responded cordially like she always does, but she uses calmness and fake kindness to manipulate people. She said she was sorry to hear this, but she really isn't sure what happened. She said she'll talk to B to get caught up to speed, but it sounds like he has made his decision. I wasn't the kindest back to that because I know it's not true. B called and yelled at me. He was so harsh I immediately started sobbing, but he wouldn't back down. I hung up and texted him I was crying so hard I threw up, but he never responded. Our family has always stayed out of it when they're mad at me. My mom said it was okay to ask, but I needed to take the answer. I'm okay the answer, but I'm getting it for the wrong reason, which I don't think is fair. It would be so great for us to work together and be close again. Anyone could manage his office. And even he said M was sacrificing a high-paying job to invest in his career, and this is the perfect excuse for her not to. I just want them to see it the way I do, and I'm so upset they won't just consider it. Am I the asshole for wanting the job and being upset I didn't get it?
AITA for refusing to give up opportunities that come my way for my sister's sake. My older sister Rita 20F is disabled. My sister's disability comes with a lot of health issues, and while mentally she's capable, physically she cannot do much and struggled even with regular school. She never graduated high school because she got so sick in senior year that it set her way back and she didn't get the grades to graduate. She was offered the chance to repeat but she said no because she was still really bad afterward. It's something that causes her a lot of distress and she still cries because she feels like she failed in the worst way. Nobody can convince her differently. She doesn't work and she doesn't go to school or anything. She's at home and gets taken care of by our parents. I'm 17 still in school and I'm going into my senior year. There have been a lot of discussions about college or what other avenue I could go down. I was given information on this apprenticeship that could be perfect for me and my guidance counselor wanted me to give it consideration over the summer because they take high school graduates. It's exciting. Rita was super upset to hear I had so many options. And not for the first time my parents expected me to think of her before making decisions. They suggested I focus on looking at community colleges only or not going to college at all and going into retail or a service industry job. They told me I could afford my own place if I were to do that. I didn't get to go to camp because Rita couldn't and they didn't want me to have experiences she couldn't. I wasn't allowed to participate in school plays because Rita couldn't participate in hers. My parents would actually stop my teachers from including me. They refused to sign a permission slip that would have allowed me to enter a competition on behalf of my school, because Rita would never get to have an experience like that herself and they didn't feel it was right for me to have it then. The permission slip came in because some travel might be involved if I were to go anywhere. They pulled me out of art classes when I was young because I was doing super well and getting a lot of praise. My parents actually pressured me to ask if I could leave the classes. But they pulled me regardless. Rita would always get upset when I achieved something or got presented with a great opportunity. She'd cry, ask me why I got everything and she got nothing. I felt bad for her but also resentful of the fact she was glad when our parents held me back. This became a fight when the college stuff came up again and my parents saw me looking up the apprenticeship and my parents asked me how I could even think about going and how selfish I would be. They said I should aim for something lower for Rita's sake. Rita heard us argue about it and she said she knows I'm too selfish to give it up for her. I told them I hated them for expecting me to. Rita and my parents said I had no sense of family loyalty at all. AITA.
Whipped if I didn't invite my fiance's kids to our wedding. Ahole. My fiance, 43M, and I, 29F, have been engaged since February and are just now sending out wedding invites to our guests. My fiance has been pretty uninvolved in our wedding planning because of his busy schedule and not being interested in planning in general, but I have made it clear to him exactly what I want for us, and I had thought we had very good communication on the subject. One of the things I had made very clear to him is that I did not want any children at our wedding. I think children, especially young children, are too young to even remember such events, and just end up causing trouble. He agreed with me on the subject, and I never brought it up again until now, when he brought up needing invitations for his ex-wife and their kids. For context, he has 3 children from his ex-wife, aged 10. I don't want to disclose the full custody agreement, but I will say he doesn't see them very much. I've met them a few times, one of which was at my sister-in-law's wedding, and I know they can be terrible troublemakers. The youngest one is especially defiant, and spent all of my Sil's wedding scream crying. The other 2 aren't much better, and the mother does little to discipline them. I corrected my fiancé on the matter, reminding him it will be a child-free event, and he looked at me as if I was crazy. I reminded him of all the times his children have misbehaved at formal events, but he was firm on his belief that they were his children, so of course they would attend. This would also mean his ex-wife would attend, which is its own problem in of itself. I think the whole matter is ridiculous. A child-free wedding is child-free. My husband, and his family, whom he told without my permission, disagree. AITA. Update. Edit. Reading these comments, I think a lot of you have a misunderstanding of my character. I do not hate my fiance's kids. I actually like them quite a bit, but I also know them, and I know that they have a tendency to misbehave. They do not like me, especially the oldest. I don't want to go around accusing children of scheming against me, but they are already opposed to the idea of me marrying their father, and I can imagine they may be especially prone to distraction at our wedding. Some of you have wondered about the degree to which my fiancé sees his kids, claiming it to be important context. He has them for half of the summer, and sees them most holidays and birthdays. That's pretty much it. He is on good terms with ex-wife, but has not always been. They are in the process of changing custody agreements. I probably should have noted this earlier, but me and ex-wife do not get along at all. We actually were good friends before me and my fiancé started dating. Sadly, she now hates me for that very reason. I do not want her at my wedding at all. I have made it clear to my fiancé that this is non-negotiable. Also, I am 29, not 39. I didn't realize I made that mistake until someone commented on it. AITA for reporting my coworker over a book one received from her. Serious. To start off, I'm F30S. Afraid I can't remember what the book is called. I dropped it in a book donation box on the same day I received it. This involves my coworker. I'll call her Kim. F20S. She's what I describe as very miserable. She's not the most easiest person to talk to. Her main responses to conversations is usually, "So what?" I can only think of 3 people here that she's comfortable with. We work at a vet clinic with around 40 people working here. She's admitted before that she's working here because we provide the best health insurance and pay. Honestly, I think she would be fired if she wasn't such a diligent and reliable worker, which she is. Well, she doesn't like to share her life or make small talk with anyone. When she does talk, it's to provide important work-related info, and she's very precise about it. I'm kind of stuck working with her most of the time. I'm a surgical tech assistant, and so is Kim. She's also the janitor here. We mostly help with sterilizing tools and clean and setting up between each surgeries. A lot of us gave up trying to get close with her, but I still try to be friendly. The issue started a couple months ago when another co-worker, Janet, F50S, gave her a book for her birthday. Kim didn't know who gave it to her. She just found it in her bag. Janet showed me the link to me and other co-workers about the book she wanted to give to Kim, thinking it'll help her attitude. It's called The Happiness Advantage: How a Positive Brain Fuels Success in Work and Life, by Sean Aker. Kim asked me if I gave it to her, and when I told her no, she then asked me did I know who did, and I also said no. I then told her to give the book a chance because I think it might help her. My birthday was a week ago and Kim gave me a book. When I asked her what it's about, she told me, "Maybe that'll help you not be so judgmental towards men. While you're at it, maybe pass that along to Dr. Roberts, M50S. We work in a mostly female place." The thought that she would give me a book like that, it sounded it was written by an incel, made me think maybe she doesn't like majority of us because I guess she's a pick-me, or not like other girls, or whatever you want to call those women-hating women, so I reported her. However, she received no punishment. I guess they found the book wasn't anti-feminist, which honestly, they could be wrong. There are stories out there where women report harassment, but HR does nothing to help. So maybe I was right about the contents of the book, or maybe I was wrong for reporting her. I don't know. Did I overreact? Edit. Like I said, I can't remember the title or the author of the book, but maybe people will recognize it if I describe the cover. It's a cutout of the Sistine Chapel painting of the creation of Adam, surrounded by a blue or black or green background. Add that with Kim's description of, "Maybe that'll help you not be so judgmental towards men." Edit 2. I was hoping to avoid this. I texted Kim about 2 hours ago and asked her what was the book called. I guess I don't really know if I was right or wrong to report the book unless I truly know what it's about. When she didn't answer for about an hour and a half, I decided to apologize about reporting her and told her I have been considering of reading the book and that I too might need improvement. She finally replied back and all she said was, "The Will to Change" by Bell Hooks. So does anyone know this book? Last edit. Make all your assumptions all you want. I got my judgment, and I agree with it. I was wrong. If the maintenance man I mentioned here tells me he hates our jokes, I will stop. But so far, he hasn't said anything, and seems to enjoy our talk. So, as for those who feel sorry for poor Dr. Roberts, our boss, well, he also likes to make jokes about his spouse. My wife didn't wash the tie I wanted to wear today. All I had to eat was leftovers last night, because my wife was too tired to cook me a warm meal. Kim doesn't even like him, and it's all because of surgical caps. Woo, these are obviously female caps, so you need to put it in the drawer labeled "Bfins," even though it's a tied cap, and it's in the drawer labeled "tied." But you should know Bfins obviously mean female caps. But even then, Dr. Roberts is fun to talk to and enjoy our jabs at him. The big baby.
AITA for making my son apologize to my nephew for having a tantrum and making a scene. Me 42F and my husband 47M have a son 14M. I'll call him Lucas. Lucas is generally a sweet and nice kid. He's friendly. He's very open, etc. He likes to read comics and draw. I think he's pretty good at it. I'm really proud of him. I couldn't wish for a better son. Anyway, Lucas has been visiting my sister 28F for 3 days. My sister has a son 8M Gabriel. I was hoping Lucas would be friends with him. I exchanged messages with Lucas and he always said it's going okay. Yesterday, I went to my sister's house to pick up Lucas and she looked really hurt. Lucas was sitting there glum as well. I asked what was wrong and my sister told me to ask my son that question. It took me a long time to convince Lucas to tell me the truth. And he finally admitted what was wrong. As I understand it, Gabriel was curious about what Lucas was drawing. He had his sketchbooks with him. Lucas let him see his sketchbooks, but told him that Gabriel should handle them carefully. But when Lucas was outside, Gabriel, with his mother's permission, as I understand it, and I'm not excusing her for this, decided to check Lucas's things. When Lucas returned to the house, he found his sketchbooks torn up. I mean, I'm not excusing what Gabriel did, but according to my sister, my son didn't want to call me or my husband and he didn't want to hear Gabriel's excuses. He threw a tantrum and called Gabriel a ton of names, even though my sister said he was just a kid. All these days the atmosphere in the house was tense. My sister didn't call me because she was offended. My sister said she didn't even know if she would still want me or my son at their house after that. I said Lucas should apologize to Gabriel and his mom. Lucas was offended, but did so. When we go to home, I asked why Lucas didn't tell me that Gabriel had torn up his sketchbooks. Lucas cried and said, "Because you never cared." Those words hurt me deeply and were a low blow because I really love my son and I didn't think he could say those words to his own mom. But I promised him that I would buy him new sketchbooks and he could redraw his drawings in them. But my husband thinks I acted like an asshole in this situation and Gabriel and my sister are wrong. Rocks XOR to 47. If your son apologized for throwing a tantrum, did your sister and Gabriel apologize for destroying his sketchbook? Because you never care doesn't sound like a low blow to me and in fact leads me to believe this isn't the first time you took your sister's side and her sister's kid over yours. Why again did you want them to be friends? Theta RK Helmet 1985. I dealt with this a lot growing up. Always told to suck it up in favor of the true wrongdoer because of family BS dynamics. As a result, as I aged, I lost any and all interest being anywhere near the specific people who did this stuff. There were many times where I also felt the because you never care feeling that Lucas feels. If he is already saying that at 14, that tells me he has been dealing with stuff like this his whole life and that he always gets the short end of the stick. Kids are very observant even if they don't talk a lot. I became a very quiet kid over time as I picked up on the patterns with these types of people. YTA, and so is your sister. You need to stand up for your sister and establish proper boundaries with your sister. Her being offended is complete BS for a reason not to call you considering the level of issues this has caused. She also doesn't accept any blame for her own family or her reaction and they are gaslighting you against your son. Better be careful or you won't have a relationship with your son when he ages. I don't have much of one with my dad at all anymore. Cold Leave 7803. YTA, your son is right. Your sister is awful. And your nephew is a brat. 8-year-olds are capable of knowing not to touch things that are not theirs. You made your son apologize to the vandals who deliberately destroyed irreplaceable personal items. A plus parenting. 1 Mom. Where do you want your trophy sent? What kind of savagery does your sister enable for books to get ripped up when they are trying to look at them? Are they Capuchin monkeys in human suits? Snoop at S8873. If you want a preview of your future, my parents did things like this to me consistently when I was a child. Even when I didn't throw a tantrum at being mistreated. And I am now 35. I live across the country from them. I have not visited them for almost a year. If they make the effort, I will host them for a few days a couple times a year. We communicate over the phone. And I don't trust them one iota or tell them anything of significance. We talk about weather and TV and what they cook, that's it. YTA you need to consider very carefully whether you love your child or not. And then consider whether you love them more than your desire to please and appease other people.